Okay, now let's listen to one of our students, Innocent Nweke, to tell us more about this topic and this great philosopher. So continue. Thank you very much. This is class is Theory of Conflict, Peace, and Security. You can continue, Mr. Nweke.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Chinedu Innocent. I'm here to present on philosophy and political thoughts by Carl Von Clausewitz. Then let's start with the introduction. Carl von Clausewitz was a Prussian general and renowned military theorist, best known for his influential work on war, von Krieg. His theories focus on the philosophical and political dimensions of warfare, emphasizing that war is not merely a military act, but a continuation of political policy by other means. He analyzed the unpredictable and complex nature of war, introducing key concepts like the trinity of war, government, military, and the people, and the role of friction. His work remains foundational in strategic studies, shaping both historical and modern military doctrine and policy making around the globe. Clausewitz was a Prussian and renowned military theorist best known for his influential work on war. Vom Krieg in German, Vom Krieg is war in German language. His stories focus on philosophical and political dimension of warfare, emphasizing that war is not merely a military act, but a continuation of political policy by other means. This means that the government, okay, that war is not merely a military act, but a continuation of political policy by other means. It means that government war is one of the strategies governments use in achieving their objectives. Then he went further to analyze the unpredictable and the complex nature of war. That war is unpredictable. No one knows when it will start. That war can start at any time, and when it will finish, nobody knows. That's the complexity of it. Then this trinity of war, government, military, and people, that it is a dimension, an interplay between governments here are political leadership, then military, armed forces. The people here is the society, all of us. His work remains foundational in strategic studies, shaping both historical and modern military doctrine. Shaping both historical in the past and the current military doctrine and policy making around the world. Then his biography, who is Carl Von Clausewitz? Okay, Clausewitz was born on July 1st, 1780 in Prussia. He served as a soldier and a strategist during Napoleonic Wars. Napoleonic Wars is a series of war between French empires and various European coalition in the year 1803 to 1815. And the country involved, and some countries that are involved in this Napoleonic wars are Britain, Prussia, Russia, Austria, and so on and so forth. And he gained his first-hand experience in military conflicts. Beyond his battle role, Clausewitz was a distinguished academic and intellectual, known for analyzing the philosophical and political aspects of war. His deep strategic insights laid the foundation for modern military theory. He continued his scholarly work until his death on November 16, 1831. Then his historical context. His ideas were shaped by the turbulent era of the Napoleonic Wars, a period marked by large-scale conflicts and the transformation of military strategy. The rise of nationalism mobilized the entire population, altering the scale and the nature of war. Influences from the Enlightenment promoted rational analysis, while Romanticism emphasized emotion and individual experience, both of which are reflected in Clausewitz's thoughts. This historical shift contributed to a new understanding of warfare as a complex, dynamic interaction of politics, society, and the military force. Like I said in the introduction, challenging earlier rigid and formulaic approaches to strategy. Then his major work. His seminal work was published after his death by his wife, Maria von Breuer. Drawing from his extensive military experience and deep philosophical insights, he crafted a comprehensive analysis of warfare. The, the book explores the nature, theory, and purpose of war, emphasizing its unpredictability and intrinsic link to politics. Despite being incomplete on war, remains one of the most influential texts in military strategy, shaping the doctrine of armed forces and strategic thinkers around the world. Then war as an instrument of policy. He famously stated that war is merely the continuation of policy by other means. Like is one of the, like I said in the introduction, that it is one of the strategy used by governments to achieve their objective, highlighting his core belief that war is fundamentally a political act. According to his philosophy, war cannot be separated from political objectives that drives it. Military actions are not isolated events but are deeply connected to the goals and interests of the state. Thus, strategic decisions in warfare must align with political consideration, making the conduct of war a tool of political strategy rather than just a matter of military tactics. That in as much as the war is one of the strategies they are using achieving their objective, that it must be guided and aligned with political, with political objective than just a matter of military, rather than just a matter of military tactics. Then the trinity of war. Clause's paradoxical trinity presents war as a dynamic interaction between three key elements. The government, which represents rational policy and political objective. The military, which deals with the chance, uncertainty, and operational execution. They are the one enforcing. And the people who embody emotion, feeling, passion, and national will. These three forces constantly interact and influence each other, making war unpredictable and complex. Understanding this trinity is essential to grasp how wars are initiated, conducted, and concluded, as each component plays a vital role in shaping the nature and outcome of conflict. Clausewitz and politics. He asserted that war is inherently shaped by political objective, emphasizing that it is not an isolated military activity, but a continuation of political intent. Strategy, in his view, serves as a tool of policy designed to achieve specific political outcomes. This means that military operation must always be aligned with the broader goals of the state. Any disconnection between political aim and military action can lead to strategic failure. Clause's insight reinforces the idea that successful warfare requires close coordination between political leadership and military command. Then his influence. His ideas have profoundly influenced military doctrine across the globe. His work, particularly on war, has been extensively studied and applied by military institutions, such as the German General Staff and the US military. His theories on the political nature of war, the role of strategy, and unpredictability of conflict have become foundational teachings in military academies and war colleges. His emphasis on critical thinking and adaptability in warfare continues to shape how future military leaders are trained and how modern conflicts are analyzed and understood. Criticism of Clausewitz. While his theories are widely respected, they have faced criticism. Some argue that his work is overly abstract and philosophical. Abstract, like that the work is overly abstract and philosophical, meaning that the work is theoretical and broad, like sophisticated, making it difficult to apply directly to modern military operations, especially asymmetric warfare involving non-state actors. Non-state actors here are a group of people that are not officially tied to government, but they have influence on international and national affairs. Additionally, Clausewitz's stated centric view of war focused on conflict between nations can be limiting when analyzing contemporary conflicts that do not involve traditional state structures. Despite these critiques, his ideas remain influential, though they often require adaptation to fit today's diverse and evolving forms of warfare. is relevant today. Despite critics, his idea remained highly relevant in the modern era. His concept of war as a political act. Then, in conclusion, he successfully bridged the reigns of war and politics, laying the foundation for modern strategic thought. His theories, particularly the idea that war is a continuation of politics by other means, remain essential in understanding both historical and contemporary conflicts. He emphasized that war is inherently complex and unpredictable, shaped by human emotions, chance, and political objectives. His insights have stood the test of time, continuing to influence military education, strategic planning, and political discourse around conflict and security in the 21st century. Thank you for your attention.
Okay, so it's done. Emmanuel, you're late and you're looking at your phone even after being late. So, any question? Please, you have to go from the beginning. Continuation of politics by all means. This is one of the greatest quotation in political statements. So, okay.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Xavier, for the presentation and all the colorful, nice supporting images. Please, I want to ask what's Carl Von Clausewitz mean by Trinity of War? Please, thank you very much.
Okay, in my own understanding, Trinity of War, that yeah. Okay, for me, in my own understanding from what he said about this Trinity of War is that the Trinity of War, like the government, yeah, the government, the military, and the people, that they interplay. That interplay, that the war is between them. The war is the war that they are having is between the government, the military, and the people. In my own understanding. Ask a question now.
I mean, your answer is not clear, no, because it's not clear. Is it that the three ties, these three trinity of war, the government, people, and the military, is it that the one causing the war?
Yes, because of their objectives. Because the government have what they want to achieve. Then the military on the other hand have their own objective, and the people also.
So can you move further and tell us the objective of the ties?
The
The three people, the three ties.
Okay, their
Their
objective.
objective, at least one or two.
Okay, let me start with the government. The government here they represent rational policy, and political objective. Rational policy here is rational policy here is their decisions, what they stand to achieve, like their policy. You understand? Then the military here this with the chance, uncertainty, and the operation execution. They are the one they are the ones standing in case if war erupted. Then people here who embodied emotion, their feelings, then passion and national will, their opinion.
So how does these three people now, you made mention of the objective, and how can we, or how does it be applicable to the concept, and how does it affect the society that get to the war? Because you made mention of the government policy. Yes.
Yeah.
Is it that the government policy is affecting the society? Maybe it's not favorable to the citizens.
That is
or
it.
then what is the function of the military? Is it that they're against the government policy or what?
The military here, they are not against the like, how will I put it? They are in between. They are fighting for the government and the people at the same time.
Thank you, sir.
You understand?
Yeah.
They are fighting for the government and the people at the same time.
Actually, the truth is that, in my own view, most of us here, except few of us that I've discovered, Emmanuel, this is a class, please. Most of us here, and suffice it to say, in this university, tend to be extraordinarily very lazy academically. And I also understand the reason why we are moving towards that direction. Somebody is doing presentation. I also understand why we are moving towards that direction. But I will simply say it's because of personal choice, and I will target at laziness. First of all, majority of you, of us here, tend to do presentation because you ought to. The lecturer orders that you have to do presentation, but you don't really understood the real thing that you're supposed to understand, in the sense that if you are talking about the philosopher, to go deep into understanding that and then connect it with the reality, so that you get to understand why, after studying, probably you might have a slighter way of handling conflicts in terms of this subject. Probably you might have a better way of situating conflicts and handling it, so that conflict will not only arise when your selfish interest is in danger, without thinking of the other person. So, because each and every one of us, we have a kind of reason for whatever we want to do. Even when we want to kill somebody, we have a reason. If we want to dismantle somebody, we have a reason. So, but then, if you are actually a person that is well read, sometimes, and you are situating it into practical life, yeah, you will still be making mistakes, but you might balance it a little bit. What am I trying to say? Look at clearly. Just let me read it if you didn't get it. He said, Clausewitz, paradoxical trinity presents war as a dynamic interaction between three key elements. You have to ask yourself, what is dynamic interaction? Then, have you read about this parts of speech, figures of speech? You use the word paradoxical trinity. So you need to know more about figures of speech to understand this. And then you ask yourself, in the secondary school, do you still remember it? If not, that is why you are here, presumably to get master's degree. So you would have done a research to know what is paradoxical. Yeah. So now, paradoxical trinity presents war as a dynamic interaction between three key elements: the government, which represents rational policy, and political objectives; the military, which deals with chance, uncertainties, and operational execution; and the people, who embody emotion, passion, and national will. These three forces constantly interact and influence each other, making war unpredictable and complex. I don't know if you guys are getting something there. Understanding this trinity is essential to grasp how wars are initiated, conducted, concluded, as each component plays a vital role in shaping the nature and outcome of conflict. Now bring it down to individuals. The tripartity of conflict. If you ask me, I will say, let me give myself an example. I am number one. My emotions and needs and selfish interests may be number two, and you are number three. You are the top person. Are you guys coming back? Are you coming home? Tripartity of the war, according to this man. Myself, my selfishness, selfish interest, and you. Are you getting something there? Can somebody say something if you are getting it? So let us get out from theoretical and classwork and academic explanation. Source of conflict, remember the outcome of conflict. So myself, my selfish interest, and you. Am I bringing it down to your understanding? He says, these three forces constantly interact and influence each other, making war unpredictable and complex. You may be my friend, but my selfishness might come in such a way when you least expect it. And when that is done, probably constantly interact and influence each other, making war unpredictable and complex. Can you replace war here with conflict? Making conflict unpredictable. Myself, my selfish interest, and you.
Okay.
You can also change it to yourself as well.
So thank you for the question and for the presenter. Thank you for the beautiful presentation once again. So I'll be taking this on two different sides, one for the society and one on an individual. All of this is to talk about the way peace and conflict occurs, either from an individual level or the societal level. At the societal level, Clausewitz is trying to tell us that war will have to involve three different components, so to say. The government, who are the policy makers, the military, that are like the executioner, like the muzzle for the government or for the society to protect, to defend, and the people. So if the government makes policy, the people react out of emotion and passion. And then if these emotions can go either ways. And then it could either lead to peace or if it leads to conflict. If it leads to peace, the military goes to rest. If it leads to crisis, the military comes out as the executioners. That's what I understand here clearly. What I understand personally, trying to interpret this area. Then to the individual, back to the class. Still talking about the trinity of war. So relating it to peace or and conflict as the case may be. The individual is the government. The things the individual do, just like the government will have policy, that makes him actually his own government. Then his emotion and passion, when being affected by people's reaction, is what is the people in him. And then the military now will now be the individual's own reaction after the people's action from his own doings, from his own words or action. I don't know if I need to take this again. As an individual, You have your own thinking and reasoning. That's individual policy. So those things you think, say, and do is what makes you. You are your own government at your own right. So, and as that individual, you also have emotion and passion, because whatever you do with the next individual will actually raise the person's response. That person's response is what brings up either the emotion or passion. If it goes well with the individual, then there is peace. If it goes against the individual, then that's where conflict comes. And then the person's now reaction, given the power available at the person's disposal, is when the military in him or her comes out. I beg to stop here. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. I don't know. I don't know if others are actually picking it. That's a very wonderful analysis. So that is what I want us to bring back home instead of thinking only academic. Conflict comes because of this tripartality of conflict. If I may use the word. Myself, my selfish interest, and you. And I repeat, he said, these three forces constantly, because my selfish interest is always there, interact and influence each other. And when my selfish interest is there, you might come into my office, and my office is to protect my selfish interest, is it not? Otherwise, I shouldn't be there. If I have a company, my company is to protect my interest and the, what do you call it, economy, to make profit, is it not? And I know fairly correctly that if you just step into my office, step into my company, with your own interest, it may not work. But you still will have your own interest, because that is why you came into my office. That's why you came into my company. I'm not sure if you guys are getting the point. So inability not to get this, that is where the danger comes, that people begin fighting, infighting, stabbing themselves, and then if you don't stab, you start talking. Destruction of reputation and dignity, or someone's office, or someone's personality, or someone's person. I don't want us to pass through this wonderful man and what it means. Because if you read it deeply, you'll understand why he's respected even to today. And it's a challenge. Think about it. Why are you conflicting with someone, with your wife, with your husband, with your brother, with your sister, with your friend? Talk about it. Think about it. It's just simply because of your selfish interest and the other person. Whether it's selfish interest or your own interest. It says constantly it interacts, influences each other. And why should you come to somebody's room and tell him how to live his room, how to live in his room? Or maybe you borrow money and you could not pay back. Because somebody has sacrificed something by lending you the money, and then you may have used the money for your own needs. And as soon as your needs passes, because of human being, you may not even remember how dangerous, the situation was then. But because you have finished making use of that person's money, currently, you may begin not to understand and then situate it properly again. That is constantly interacting and influencing, because it forces. So, and I'm now saying that if you understand this Trinity, understanding it is essential to grasp how conflicts are initiated. I'm not sure if you guys have gone there. I'm not sure if you have followed me to understand this. He said that is how, he used the word initiated, how conflicts are initiated. Because you, as a person, you have a particular need. And for you to get that need, you may have gotten it from someone, because no man is an island. You need one another. But the problem is that the conflict now comes in. When these your needs and when these your intentions were conducted and concluded in a way that the other person will now begin to feel threatened, whether it's from me or from you. And that is where the result is conflict. Hello? I'm not sure if you guys are getting are you getting the point? Otherwise, there shouldn't be any conflict. That's what he's saying. Remember, we're talking about this man. Otherwise, there shouldn't be any need to any conflict. Conflicts are there simply because of me, my needs, and you. And that is how conflicts are initiated. I use the closest example of borrowing money. When you want to borrow somebody money, you are doing a good act, are you not? You are doing something good because the person needed it, are you not? Hello, are you guys there? But the conflict has initiated at that point in time, at the end of the day. Maybe you are handling your office, and somebody probably, you needed to assist somebody using your office. Whether you like it or not, you have dug a pit that might consume you, whether you like it or not. In the family setting, try to understand where this man is going. In the family setting still, you might even be training your child and giving him, which one they said, they spare the rod and spoil the child or something like that. Trying to pamper so much, you have initiated a big conflict. You can analyze this in so many ways to get to this tripartity of war. But then I'm putting it as a tripartity of conflict. Conflict doesn't just arrive, it comes from somewhere. And wherever it comes, there's always a justification from me, justification from your side. But the point is that he's trying to talk about the initiation, where it's coming from. That is why he used what? Paradoxical. Who knows what is paradox? Huh? Paradox.
Paradoxical. This is simply to juxtapose things that are conflicting ideas, opposites. That's the simply put.
Yes, paradoxical. So paradoxical trinity presents what a dynamic. Remember, who understand what is dynamic?
Changing.
Dynamic. Something that human beings, I can change. Many people have told me that I can change. Sometimes I change to be a good person. Sometimes I change to be a monster. Some people have told me that. Sometimes I act as a savior. Sometimes I act like a destroyer. So that is what it means. I'm just giving that as an example. I don't intend for you to focus on me. Focus on yourself, please. But I just want to use to understand the dynamic interaction between these three elements. So within me, just like Dixon has explained, within you, there are so many, these elements are there as well. And that is the reality of human nature and life. But the problem is that how do you protect yourself? Because believe it or not, some of us are poor and will continue to be poor because of the decisions we have taken in our life. Some of us, things are very hard on us because of decisions we are taking in our life. Remember that I said something about recycling poverty. And I also said something about recycling conflict. And I added something today, recycling situations. Whether you like it or not, I got this concept from presentations from the issue of few and some philosophers. But the point that sometimes I forget to explain it, so I try to remember it again. Each presentation gives me a situation because I also read it. Because the next thing is not just to come to the class and listen. You have to do thorough research and do it by yourself. They're on YouTube to know more about that. So that when you come to class, you base the argument and learn one or two. So, Trinity of War. Any other? I think we only take the last question. And you ask the question. Who else want to ask question? Chika, do you have anything to ask about this man? Okay. So then, what do you understood by politics by other means? Presenter, can you explain that one?
Politics by other means.
Yeah, I mean, he says something about.
I think that is an introduction.
War as an instrument. War as an instrument of policy. War as an instrument of policy. So can you explain what it says about
Okay.
politics? War is
Continuation of political policy by other means.
correct.
Okay.
Or war political policy, or war as politics by other means.
What for my own understanding from this introduction, it means that continuation of political policy by other means that governments use war as one of the strategies in achieving their political objective.
What government use what?
War as one of
Yeah,
their,
yeah.
as
In
one
other
of their,
words, they want
as,
to force something.
as one of their strategies in
Yeah, a
achieving their
strategy to
objective.
make sure you follow what the government wants. He's known for that very, very well. Okay, so who else wants anything to say? Okay, thank you very much.